Folks, I am so sorry about that. I forgot to rotate my phone before I put it in the tripod. I've never done that before. Really sorry. So hopefully you are still with me. Hopefully my phone is showing what it's supposed to. Hopefully I'm on. I can't see that anyone is following at the minute, but I really hope you're there. Okay guys, so now that I have got my phone set up properly, sorry about that again. Tuesday evening, wind down Pilates at the end of the day. I've got some watchers, so this is good. Hello, whoever you are. Great. So we're going to be doing quite a bit of mobility work, a little bit of balance at the beginning as well, and some stretch work. So I can share with you now a little bit of a secret that I have been keeping from you all for the last few weeks or so, in that I am now nearly 4 months pregnant, which is super exciting, and at the point now where I have to start to take a few things into consideration with my Pilates practice. So what I need to kind of bear in mind, and the things that you might see that are slightly different, is that when we are on our backs, I'm not going to keep us on our backs for too long in one go. So it'll probably be 2 exercises and then I'll need to change position, purely because exercising on your back for a prolonged length of time after the first trimester isn't a great idea. So it can interrupt blood flow to the baby. So we won't be staying on our backs for too long in one go. I can still lie on my tummy at the moment, so we will be doing some front lying work as well, and a little bit on our sides. We won't be doing anything that crunches the abdomen. So if you think about your traditional kind of abdominal crunches, I'm not going to be putting any of those into my Pilates classes. We're going to be focusing more on spinal rotation, core stability, and just stability of the abdomen in general, rather than that kind of crunching, compressive motion. I'm also just going to be keeping my movements a little bit smaller and a little bit safer. So I'm going to be taking things a little bit easier. So I'm just going to stand up now, and you can see. So definitely a bit of a bump going on there. So I couldn't have hidden that for too much longer anyway. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So hopefully you are set to go, you're comfortable, you've got some comfortable clothes on and a little bit of space, whether it's a mat or just a carpeted floor, just something that's going to be okay to lie on and that your feet aren't going to slip on when we put your feet flat on the floor to work into shoulder bridge. Okay, so let's hop to our mats or to our space and get started. Okay, so I hope you guys can see me okay in the camera. I had everything so perfectly set up and then forgot to rotate the screen, but there you go, that's me and technology. I'm going to blame baby brain for everything now for the remaining kind of 6 months. So let's just square up those feet. Have a little look down for the toes, at the toes. I like to lift up onto the tiptoes and just work through the ankles a bit. Maybe you'll go one side and then the other. That was a big crack there. I don't know if you heard that through the phone. That was really big, like a gunshot. So we'll just work through the ankles and then place those heels down into the floor. Maybe softening our knees a touch and start to draw your attention towards your hips and your pelvis. Imagine that you're tucking your tailbone just neatly underneath you. So when I say about tucking your tailbone, if I go side on, you can see that my natural posture is not what you're seeing at the minute. My natural posture would actually be to have very much an anterior tilt on my pelvis. So you can imagine that the front of my pelvis, if it were now a bucket of water, would be tipping all the water out the front. And what I need to do is tuck my tailbone under to bring the top of my pelvis level and to keep all that water sat in that bucket. So let's just come back to the front here. So we tuck that tailbone neatly underneath us, draw the belly button gently into the spine, and take a minute to just draw up in the length of your spine, to relax your shoulders and lift up into the crown of your head. Let's let that chin sink down, but we're still keeping that feeling of length through the spine. Maybe have a little bit of a roll side to side. It's always one of my favourite parts as well, is just using the weight of the head there to massage all the way around the sides of the neck. And then if you just bring that head back up and up, beautiful. Take a little bit of a peek over the right side. It doesn't have to be a big peek, just gently. And then go back to center. Take a bit of a peek left. And then come back and let your right ear flop on down to your right shoulder. Feel the weight in that left shoulder and feel the stretch through the side of the neck. And then just come on over and flop on down to the other side. Nice, and just let that arm hang. And then if we come up, take your lovely deep breath in. So inhaling as the arms come up, and I want you to feel your rib cage expand out to the sides as you inhale. So it's that lovely deep thoracic breathing. So if we inhale on up and then exhale on down. So, and again, let's inhale on up and exhale on down. Just do one more of those. So if we inhale on up to the top, and then if you exhale on down, now let's carry on rolling down the spine. So let's let the chin drop, and then down we go. Take your time, because it's the first time we've rolled down. So just take your time and just take a bit of a hang at the bottom there. Readjust the feet if they need it. Shuffle the shoulders. And then let's start to work our way back up. So gently drawing the belly in to support that lower back. Take a lovely big inhale. And let's roll the spine one more time. So as those arms come down, follow with your chin. Imagine you've got a big bowling ball in your hands. And really let that upper body become like a floppy old weight, stretching out into the hamstrings and into that lower back. And then let's start to work our way back up. So imagine those building blocks, those vertebrae, restacking one at a time. Take a lovely big inhale. And then let's just relax those arms down to the side. Super nice. So if you come out into a T shape with the arms, shoulders are nice and shuffled. Now keep your hips looking to me and rotate to that right side. Now if you keep your hips lovely and still, you won't actually be able to rotate that far. Come back to the center, over you go to the left. So again, if the hips aren't moving, we won't be able to rotate super far at all. So let's come back through. Just do one more to the right. And then come back to center. Take one more over to the left. Come back to center. Relax your arms. And then I want you to let these arms go kind of floppy by your side. Let them rotate now left and right, and let your pelvis just join you a little bit. So we're just freeing up that action. We're not asking the pelvis to stay still. It can follow us around a little if we like. Let's do one more to either side, might get a little bit bigger. And then just relax in the center. Take the shoulders, both of them, and roll them forwards and up, over, back, and down. So imagine you've got a little clock face just on the side of each of your shoulders, and you're trying to send your shoulder all the way around the perimeter of that clock face. We're trying not to miss out any numbers. So let's just do two more of those. So lovely big rolls. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing together at the back. Do one more of those. And then just leave those shoulders back and down. So my favorite part now, we're going to go right one up. And then keeping this pelvis, so your bucket of water, we're going to keep the bucket stable. So we're not tipping anything out. Over you go to that right side. Feeling that lovely lengthening across the waist. And then let's just come back to center. Take the left one up. Think about how that pelvis is lovely and level, and find a bit of lengthening over to that right side. And then let's free this one up a little bit like we did with the side rotations, and just free it up a little bit so we've got a little bit more movement. Pelvis is still staying lovely and level, but it just feels nice to free that action up a little bit. So let's just go maybe one more to either side. Keep lifting into those fingertips. Lovely, lengthening along the ribs. One more here, and then just relax the arms down. Let's do a final roll down. Take that big breath in, and then exhale. And if you roll all the way down, so let the chin come down and off you go. Roll it down. Now this time at the bottom, if you'd like to, take hold of opposite elbows and see if the extra weight there doesn't just let you hang over that little bit further. Maybe take a little bit of a rock side to side. Feel how that's helping to lengthen those hammies. And then release your arms. Hopefully they're a little bit closer to the floor, and off we go to the top. Take a nice big inhale breath. Lovely. And relax those arms down. Superb. Now before we hit the floor, we're going to take our weight into our right leg and just do a little bit of balance work. So if you pop your weight into your right foot, just keep your left tiptoes on the floor to start with. And again, I want you to imagine how lovely and level the top of this pelvis is. Arms can be anywhere you feel that they might be helpful with balance. That might be on your hips, to the side, maybe out in a T-shape, whatever works for you. I want you to find something that isn't moving and stare at it. Draw the belly button in and bring that left knee as high as feels comfortable. Now it can just be a centimetre off the floor if you like. Gently back down and be very, very light with your tiptoes. And again. Now really eyeball something that isn't moving. So really, really stare at something. The more you can eyeball it, the better. So really, really fix that gaze, stare at it. Just don't pick something that's moving, that's super tough. And again, so come on, up, 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 up. Lovely. Okay, we're going to do 2 more. So you'll feel that right ankle or those ligaments and tendons just wiggling around, helping to keep you stable. So let's just do 1 more of those here. So up you go. And relax it down, superb. Have a little bit of a shake through those feet. And then take your weight into your left one, softening the knee, drawing the belly up and in, and just coming up softly, gently onto those right tiptoes. Level out that pelvis. Find your little staring point at about eye height and come on up. So the belly button stays drawn to the spine and you keep that gaze fixed. Try and be aware if you're scrunching up your toes on your left foot. So it's quite a natural reaction to try and scrunch our toes up, but actually what we want to do is try and spread our toes as wide as possible. So really helping to increase that surface area. So we've got 1 more to do here. Let's see if we can hold it a little bit longer. It doesn't matter how high you lift. And then it's coming down, lovely. Give those feet a little bit of a shake out. And we are popping down to our mat. So I hope you can see me on my mat. I might even just move this little tripod back just a little bit so you can see that mat a little bit better. Sorry folks, I hate fiddling around when we're started. Okie dokie. So we are going to pop onto our back for a shoulder bridge. So let's take it down to the floor. Have a lovely roll to get yourself down. So I like to hold on to the thighs and let myself roll down and have a bit of a hug when I get there. And then just pop your feet flat on the floor with those knees bent, okay? So we're going to be working up into our shoulder bridge. I don't think you can see me, I think you can just about see me. I do apologise if the camera's not quite positioned right after that fiddling about. So let's creep our feet closer to our bottom. So we do want the heels nice and close to the bottom. And then just check that you've got the same distance between your feet, your knees and your hip bones. Relax those arms by your side. Draw the belly button into your spine. And we're going to start to peel the pelvis up by the pelvis backwards. So the pelvis starts to tip backwards. And we carry on that feeling of peeling until we get right to the top of our bridge where the hips here are fully extended and we feel like we're balancing on the back of our shoulders, so there's no pressure on the back of the neck. Take a lovely big reach over if you've got room. I kind of don't. So back we come. And then start to lay your spine down. So we're really looking for that articulation of the spinal column in the shoulder bridge. So let the pelvis roll down as well. So let's go again. So start tipping the pelvis back. Feel the tailbone rise. And then carry on peeling each vertebrae a segment at a time. Give your bottom a squeeze at the top. Take the arms up and over. And then bring those arms all the way back down again. And start to lay that spine down one section at a time until the pelvis rolls back to where it started, but it doesn't over roll. So let's do that twice more. So if we start to come on up, give your bottom a squeeze at the top, stretch those arms up and over, and then bring those arms back down. And then lay that spine down, so just one section at a time, all the way down into that floor. We're going to do one more of those. Pelvis starts to move first, spine peels away. Take a lovely big extension with the arms, give your bottom a squeeze. Arms come back over, and then start to lay the spine down, one section at a time. And when you get to the bottom, I want you to take those knees in and have a bit of a hug. Now, while you're staying there, having a hug, I'm fairly sure that my mat is not really in the picture, so we are going back, back, back even further. Okay, how's that? Okay, we'll see how that goes. Right folks, so you're giving yourself a bit of a hug on the floor, a bit of a rock and roll, and then I want you to stretch away into a big full body stretch. So take the arms up, take the toes away, and have a lovely point. Oh, a big full body stretch. And then if you come out with the arms in a T shape, bring your tiptoes behind your bottom. I want you to glue your knees together and start to rock just gently, side to side, so just gently. Let the head travel the opposite way. So always start with lovely small movements and just see how they feel, and then maybe you can start to make them a bit bigger. So I love this one. It's like a rolling pin on all those tight lower backs. Oh, so nice. And if we go over one more time, nice, nice. And then just pop on back to the center for me. Lovely. And if you relax your arms down. Now after I've been twisting, I always like to just lift the pelvis up and lay it back down to the floor so that you can just be certain that you've come back into that nice neutral pelvis with that flat front there, with a very, very minimal amount of gap underneath the lower back and the mat. So let's start to work into the lower tummy. I'm going to keep my movements very small, but by all means you can make them bigger. So we need to start with our little tabletop. Belly button draws in. Let's make one tabletop. Draw the belly button again and make another tabletop. Now my tabletop is going to come slightly forwards over my hips. So my thighs, you can probably see now, they're not exactly perpendicular to the floor. So this is, for me, is because of the pregnancy. For anyone who has any problems with their lower back or has a particularly pronounced curve in their lower back, this may be a more comfortable position. So we need to be able to maintain that neutral pelvis. Inhale breath, exhale breath. One tiptoe starts to look for the floor. Can you hear my voice shaking there? So that's when I know that I've got to my point, kind of like the point of no return, where if I carried on with my foot to the floor, actually I couldn't control neutral pelvis and my foot would just plop down and my lower back would plop up. So if you get that little bit of a shake, that's not a bad thing at all. So exhaling as the leg comes down and inhaling as that leg comes back up. Nice. So we're going to just do another 2 more, so one on either side. So let's do one more on that left side. And then I want you to bring those knees down into your chest again, but grab the knees and draw them either side of your rib cage. So you've got a really nice wide leg roll there as you just massage that lower back a little. Now bring the knees together. I'm going to give you 2 options here. We keep the knees into the chest for a slightly easier option, less weight to control, or we make tabletop and we stick the knees together for a weightier option. You choose. So I'm going to have my knees close. I'm going to make my T shape again. Relax the shoulders into the floor. Start to drop the knees over to the right, but I want you to stay in control of the speed and the movement, and I want you to keep that upper body, your shoulders, your upper back. I want you to keep that nice and stuck to the floor. Maybe you like to bring the head in and again look to the opposite side. So you may be able to feel your waist muscles contracting to draw you back into the center and to control the speed of the roll side to side. So again, let's go on over. And if we do another 2 more of those, so maybe you're making the movement a little bit bigger, as long as it's lovely and controlled, then I'm happy. Let's do 1 more to the left side. Come on back to the center. Take your hands and grab onto those fingertips behind your thighs. Lift yourself halfway up and just take a stretch for that upper back. And then give yourself a push, a little rock. Nice. And we're going to roll over onto our tummies. So I'm taking advantage of still being able to lie on my tummy. So we're going to go up onto our tums. Ooh, excuse me a moment. That happens a lot. Okay, down we go. So we're down here on our tums. And we're going to take a star shape. So the hands are going to come out directly in front of the shoulders. So actually it's not quite a star, is it? That would be out to the sides. So just in front of your shoulders. So stretch yourself out. If you've got a little pillow or a towel to go under your forehead here, super. Otherwise we're going to maintain that nice neutral alignment by not resting our head on the floor, but also not lifting our head up to look in front. You might see me lift my head, but that's just so that the mat doesn't swallow my words and you guys can still hear me. So lengthening into that crown of head, I want you to draw your belly button up away from the mat into your spine. Any lower back problems, you're going to keep those feet down on the floor. Otherwise, opposite arm to leg. So prone Superman. Hopefully you've got room to stretch away into those tiptoes. Being very gentle as you change sides. Oh, I haven't quite got room there. I'm going to need to bend my leg on that side. But I'd like your legs to stay lovely and straight. So we're trying not to rock and roll side to side. We're trying to stay lovely and level and stable. So let's go again, 4 more I think. Check that belly button is still drawn up. Let's do 1 more either side. And 1 more here. And then just relax. Let that lower back and your hips rock side to side. And then give yourself a little push on up and sit back into your child's pose. Give that lower back a lovely stretch. Take the knees wide if you want to. Wiggle yourself down. Let that forehead come down. And then come on up onto all fours. Pop yourself into your little box shape. Right hand threads underneath. Take that lovely stretch into your thread needle. Little push, push back up. And then take that left one under again. Thread that needle. And then a little push back up. We're going to sit down onto those feet 1 more time. So back you go, release. Hands go back to feet. Take a floppy, floppy shoulder. And then start to roll that spine all the way back up until we are up on our knees. So we're going to take an exercise on high knees now. By all means, if kneeling isn't comfortable for you, pop yourself into a seated position and then we can still work on the roll back of the spine, okay? So let's come on up onto high knees. When you come up, I want you to tuck your tailbone underneath you again. So just as you did do when you were stood up, we don't want that duck butt to stick out like I get. And we tuck that tailbone underneath. And we draw the belly button through. Keeping the shoulders relaxed, let's take those arms out in front of you. I want you to imagine that we're going to sit down towards your heels, but you don't actually want to sit on them. So imagine you're hovering over like a public toilet seat and you don't actually want to sit down. So the belly button draws in. Inhale as you exhale. We go to sit, but we don't quite sit. Feel the front of your thighs, feel those quadriceps tightening up there. Spine is long, we haven't crunched forwards at all, we're staying lovely and tall. Come on up, inhale, exhale, back you go. Coming back up again. This time let's add a bit of rotation, so as you sit, open your right arm and watch it travel. Come on back up. Let's go left side, open the arm up. Come on back up. Let's do 1 more to either side. Come on back up. And if we just do 1 more of those, so open it up. Come on around again. Relax your bottom down to your feet. And we're going to roll ourselves all the way up from here. So if you take the hands forward, your toes, and then just come up onto the balls of your feet, and take your time rolling yourself all the way back up. So let's take those heels down, lengthen through the hammy, and then start to roll all the way back up, up, up. Take a lovely big inhale breath at the top. And then exhale. So let's just do 1 more of those. Take a lovely big inhale And then exhale it down. I'm just going to come to the front to face you guys. Right one comes up. Over you go. Lengthen through that side rib cage. Gently over to the other side. So really lovely and loose. Beautiful. One more over with the left arm. Nice. And then relax those arms down. I want you to let them go side to side, like you did at the beginning. Letting the hips just move a touch with you. One more to either side. Waking up that spine again. And then just relax. Take that final deep breath in. And exhale to the sides. And then take the hands all the way up, up, up. Bring them together. We always end in prayer. Thank our bodies for taking us through that session today. Take a little bow. And you have signaled the end of your practice for this evening. Maybe time for tea. It's time for a swim in the sea for me. So I'm heading out for a sea swim before dinner. So enjoy the rest of your evening, folks. Any questions about anything, please do feel free to pop me a little comment and I'll answer you guys. And again, sorry that the camera wasn't turned the right way at the beginning. I managed to muff that up properly. But I will speak to you guys soon. Be safe, take care, and can't wait to see you guys in person when I'm going to be looking very different, probably with a very big stomach. Lovely to see you, folks, or not see you. See you but not see you. Have a wonderful evening.